And they figured out once they got the water off the racetrack that you could run in it, you know, and that was probably the best way to drive the track too. So those are all boxes I never thought we would have checked from the way that whole project started out. But kudos to them for being visionaries in that regard, and Mr. France for pushing the limits. I don't think there was probably a lot of support for that, but as we've narrowed in on what works, it's pretty clear today that it worked.
Christopher, have any input after yesterday?
No, I mean, he told us about his day, but the cars are so far different now. There's just not much that transfers. They're nothing like they used to be years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, where you could relate a little bit. There's just nothing to take from it anymore.
And we've now been joined by our race-winning owner, Coach Joe Gibbs. If you have a question for him or Adam, please raise your hand. We'll go to Jerry, and then over here to Rich.
Jerry Jordan, Kicking the Tires on that. Adam, I was talking to Briscoe a while ago, and he just says Christopher's the GOAT here. Why is Christopher so good here, and Christopher gave you guys, the team, credit for being so good here. What is it about this track that really meshes with JGR?
I don't know. I think if you go back through history, we've had a lot of drivers be successful here, and I think that there's a bit of a snowball effect where the feedback's better, the setups get better, and then in turn the feedback gets even sharper, and you're working on smaller and smaller things, and then the crew chiefs get a little smarter, the engineers get a little smarter. It's just a huge snowball rolling downhill. Now, all that being said, it had nothing to do with racing in the rain here today. We didn't prepare for that. As far as a base setup, obviously we got to make adjustments, but we didn't put springs and bars and shocks on this thing thinking we were going to finish up in the rain. So, to Christopher's side, I would love to hear his response to this question, but like I said, this track is just it's got so much character. It really tasks the driver with being willing and able to move around and find that little bit of grip as the line moves and the rubber goes down, and certainly in the wet, like we talked about earlier, as it dries, knowing how much work you're asking out of your tires and how to remedy that situation in short order, and just that dirt experience and his mindset of always looking forward and always being willing to be the first guy to make a new move seems like it paid off today.
And one follow-up, what were you thinking with all those cautions being up on the box with Christopher on the restarts?
I wasn't too worried about the restarts, but if you have enough of them, eventually one of them's going to go bad, right? So that's a concern, but it wasn't really on my mind. The thing I was thinking the last probably two was how dark it was getting. I know it was probably hard to see on TV, but all of us here at the track were thinking, man, we can't do too many more of these because it was certainly getting dark.